Hello and welcome everyone to episode 20 of our podcast. In this episode, we will talk about Vyry's impact on student social life. I'm with Tommaso Bartolo, the founder and CEO of Phygital, the startup laying the building blocks of spatial experience. How is it going, Tommaso?
Romeo, so good to see you and have another episode. As always, I feel really great, like you, the background, cruising in orbit, seeing things clearly, dodging anything that is distracting, and at the same time picking up speed. So, what are we talking about today?
Fantastic, yeah. That's a good outlook of life. I'm really looking forward to hearing your take on today's topic. I know you have been building Phygital for the last 3 4 years with the specific goal in mind that to find a way to actually socialize in a community instead of just consuming media. So that basically brings me to my first question, which is more and more students today suffer from issues like social isolation and anxiety. A lot of these are generally attributed to excessive social media use, lack of physical activity, etc. What do you think is the core issue here?
Well, over the last, let's say, 18 months, you said 3, 4 years, right? But primarily focused the last 18 months, we have been working hand in hand with a series of colleges and examining the student life, right? And what we have seen is that on one hand, statistically, that over 60% of students on campus, they suffer from what is called the social isolation, which is the effect of you being surrounded by a bunch of peers and students on campus. So you really don't lack, let's say, access, right, to others, but you do feel socially isolated. And so to respond to your question, to fill their void, what they do, giving these sentiments, is primarily two things. One is they do a lot of this doom scrolling, right? And then the second thing is, and that is really tremendously shocking, right? 20 to 30 hours an average of playing games on campus. Okay, so and therefore you have seen over 1.5 to 2.2% year over year growth in things like depression and anxiety. Right, so we are moving towards more and more a society based on this Generation Z and Generation Alpha, right? That is more anxious, right, and more depressed, right? And the essence of that, the root cause of that is truly this isolation, and the isolation leads to the filling the void through leveraging a digital world, right, that doesn't allow them to have feeling of belongings, that doesn't allow them having edifying moments where they say, wow, I have accomplished something, I'm actually doing something with others, right? They're lacking the ability to experience the real world while actually not missing out on the digital world, right? And this study and this series of experiment that we have done with professors from mental well-being, as well as working together with students, and then obviously combining that with technology, specifically artificial intelligence, right? We have been understanding that Romeo, three things can slash and reduce this anxiety and depression by 25 to 40%. And so you would say now, well, what is it? All right, you guys ready? And so number one, pillar number one is, well, we need to get this next generation out there, outdoor, right? So that they can enjoy more the world, but without subtracting them the benefits of the digital world. So physical plus digital in one. And here is where physical AI comes into place. Now, the second pillar is behavioral. We help them shift from a behavior that is more individualistic. And this individualistic behavior, what I mean with that is that over the last 25 years in the internet, all core loop mechanics have been built upon a single user. I like, I comment, I share, I do, I post, I play, right? And so we are diverging that based on towards group behaviors, right? We accomplish, we collaborate, we create, we contribute, we depend on each other, right? And that movement allows the user to be interdependent from other peers, collaborate with other peers, have this feeling of altruism because I help others accomplishing something. And that provides this very fundamental feeling of belonging. Now I do belong, right? And that's the second pillar. So number one, physical, digital, right? Outside in the digital world plus the digital world. Number two, we do things in a group. And now number three, because Gen Z and Gen Alpha was raised in a very playful way, right? Whatever they do within this physical digital group behavior, right? Physical digital group behavior, right? You want to do that in a playful way and in a creative way, right? And I consciously chose the word playful and not gaming, right? Because we do differentiate between, gaming is for gamers, right? It's something that you define yourself with your identity. I'm a gamer, right? You have certain attributes, you have a certain expectation of hardware, how much time you spend, what you want to achieve, right? And playful is more something that is enjoyable, is fun, right? Is minimalistically rewarding and way more surprising to what you're doing. So that's the playful and creative. So these are the three building blocks that allow humanity, and especially the next generation, right, to move towards a more edifying approach with the digital world. So by putting the physical world for the very first time, right, in combination with the digital, by having group behavior, and by doing this in a very creative and playful way.
Right, right. So you have clearly identified the solution. Now, how is Vyry actually implementing this solution in the college campuses and with all of the partners that you have?
Well, we have clearly identified the problem before the solution. And that is,
Yeah.
I think, especially for a startup, the most fundamental thing, because that is very much mission oriented, right? And before you focus on any solution, right, you want to truly understand under what circumstance has what specific target audience, what problem, and how recurring is that, right? So if you nail that, you start then figuring out how you're solving that and how technology can support you to solve that, right? So I give you kind of the problem and then the three pillars on how we're approaching that, right? And in this current version that we have out there in closed beta, we are serving, right? We're serving students on campus that
Yeah.
suffer from that social isolation challenge, and we provide them actually with, on one hand, with a Discord bot, and the Discord
Uh-huh.
bot allows them to create groups within their clubs. So if you are a student on any university, by the way, and you're watching this, right, and you are in any design clubs, math clubs, right, and usually you guys meet or have a Discord channel, and that Discord channel over 80%, 90% is very quiet because people just stream information into it, right? What we provide as a tool stack is a bot that the Discord admin installs. And once you have that one installed, right, you are able to create very contextual. So contextual meaning that club-related quests where you collaborate within Discord with others to create activities such as art activities, such as the digital graffiti, such as think of truly the collaborative way of you putting together artwork that then, as a result, right, provides you a co-created artwork, right? So, well, Tommaso, what does it help me with? So one, it's a group behavior. So we throw based on affinity folks together so that they can creatively do something in a very,
Uh-huh.
playful way, right? And then
Yeah.
take that actually, Romeo, beyond the limitation of the Discord, let's say, digital world, right? And say, hey, now you can take it onto campus. So take it onto campus means that we provide them the rights to those groups, right, to anchor. So taking the digital artwork that you did, that we call a digital graffiti, and anchor that on top of the real world, right? So similar to, most of you are familiar with Pokemons, right? But obviously Pokemon is kind of a pre-designed and tailored games for you to collect things, which, with all due respect, was fun for as long as it lasted, right? Now we bring basically very much contextual activities, meaning that you can co-create things that you care, not that somebody says that you have to seek. So things that are really important to you from the physical world that we convert into the digital world, and then those can be made available onto the physical world. Why? Because others that have not participated in the creation of it, which we call the explorer, so they can then discover that. So they imagine that your peers on campus, they can walk around, right, and say, oh, what's going on here, right? What's out there, right? What is in this physical digital world? That's the reason why it's called the Vyry world. What can I discover? And say, oh wow, Romeo has this artwork, which is a bit about hard rock and a flavor of fast food where he was, and maybe even his new Nikes, right? And so that artwork is very creative. You can interact with it. You see who the creators are. You can chat with the creators. Obviously, you can upvote, downvote, right? There is all this social component, and this entire experience is what we are coining as a spatial experience, right? Which is not social media, but social. 3, 2, 1. That's the rhetorical pause in the theater, right? And
Exactly.
it's not gaming, but playful. What did he say? Right. So that is basically the environment, right?
Right, yeah, right. That makes so much sense. So basically, all of these quests and creating these XFTs and becoming a co-creator, and then having someone else explore what you have created. This is what you basically propose the term joint value creation. This is where it comes in, right?
The joint value creation is the result of it, right, Romeo? We believe in a world in which you will be living your life the way you're doing it today, right? But unlike the way we have done it, let's say, since technology was let's say more commercialized, right, in terms of, or consumerized, if you so want, right, and therefore always bound to first desktops, right, and then mobile phones. We are now moving into this new computing era, which obviously alludes towards smart glasses. So, Sir Walter was, nobody has smart glasses yet. Absolutely, but we are all agreeing that that is where it's going, right? And now, in order for us to create a seamless, harmonious, right, behavior within this physical digital dimension, we're starting out with smartphones, and there are some fundamental inflection points that allow us already nowadays to provide very performant and fun, experience already through the smartphones, right? While we are preparing for these ones, right? And so we are seeing a world in the near future where you say, hey, Vyry, turn on, right? And everyone will have a very contextual and bespoke experience. And I'm not talking about I see things that is very polluted. That should be very clear here. I want to make a point, right? But you're seeing only things that matter to you. And when I say seeing, it's not just something that is reflected and overimposed on top of the real world, but it's actually something that is interactive. So it's of value, it's a utility. And secondly, it's not overimposed, but it's merged with the physical world, meaning it understands the geometric limitations of the table, the trees that you're seeing, the walls that you're seeing, and it becomes one with them. So that it's complementary, actually, additionally, right, on top of the real world, as an extension of the real world, right, so that you can benefit from it, right? That's the reason why we say, well, the future of humanity will truly derive and have a greater value from this physical digital world that we are building, right? And you just live your life, and you don't have to swipe, but you live within it, and it serves you, right?
Right.
That's how we do it.
Right, right. No, that makes a ton of sense. So, but there's this question that I'm basically coming up against is the solutions that Vyry provide is obviously very enticing. But at what stage do you find the students when they find themselves thinking, like, do I need something like Vyry? Or basically, I have to avoid social media, it is eating all of my time, but I need something fulfilling. Do they actively seek a platform like Vyry, or do you think basically whenever they through network effect, when they interact with Vyry or basically encounter Vyry for the first time, they get hooked instantly?
Yeah, I mean, there are different always aspects on how you could phrase any kind of topic, right? You say,
Yeah.
hey, please describe this rock tune, right? And you could say, oh, this is a band, and the band was big in the 1970s, and they defined a very specific rock style. That's one version of it. Or you say, hey, this is John. John was born in Connecticut, right? His guitar was built, but like, or you can go right. So you have always different way of describing it, right? The angle that we have been describing it so far was more from a problem perspective, right? Obviously, if you go to a Gen Z, Gen Alpha, let's say if you go to a young adult with the age of 18, 19, you're not going to say, we are solving for you depression and anxiety, because that's not, let's say, something that is also from a tactical perspective very appealing. You're saying, hey, we're converting your boring everyday life on campus into a playful environment. And then the question is, well, how you do that? Well, very simple. You take an app, you take some pictures, which you already are doing today, but instead of posting those on social media, we convert them into a game-like experience. Well, what means a game-like experience? And what if that these pictures, they can introduce you to like-minded peers, meaning peers that have also taken similar pictures in your vicinity. We understand, based on the pictures, the theme and the topic of what you have taken picture of, right? It's about food, it's about fashion, it's about sports, it's about education, right? And we create narratives and storylines where you are the author of it because you took those pictures, and those storylines convert into activities, right?
Yeah,
On campus. So it's location based, it's contextual, and meeting like-minded peers, right? And as a result, you create something that is available for others to see, right? So that's kind of the narrative that we have, and that's the reason why even our early adopters are definitely loving what we are building, what we are doing, and big shout out to all our ambassadors. We have over 500 schools already activated, growing 10% week over week, right? And in our version 03 closed beta, shout out there, VO4 planned to be deployed end of May, beginning of June, totally new redesign, really cool stuff coming out there, right? So yeah, so that's how we are humbly, working hand in hand, walking hand in hand, Romeo, with our target audience, and defining this new thing that there is not even a name for. Does it make sense?
fantastic. Yeah, that sounds amazing. So, how do new students join? How do new work?
Well, one hand, go on Vyry.world and then sign up on our Discord. You're part of our community. Within our community, we share to active members, right? The closed beta access. Closed beta, say closed beta. It's closed beta to the bot. If you are an admin who has on school a club, right? So we share with you the bot, so you can play around with that, install it, have some fun with the group. And the goal of the bot is create engagement in a very differentiated way, because it takes you into the physical digital world too, right? Or if you don't have a club, you get access to our closed beta app, and then we are super open to get feedback, right? That's where we are at. So long story short, Romeo, Vyry.world, and join our Discord, right? And yeah, stay connected with us on there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tommaso. As always, amazing conversation, and hope to see you again very soon. Bye bye.
I